Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here because, honestly, we're tackling a subject that impacts pretty much every single one of us. We're looking at the state of modern love in 2026, and specifically that incredible, sometimes super stressful, but always fascinating intersection between our relationships and our screens. We're calling it the tech tension of modern love. You might want to grab a notebook for this one because the way we connect, fight, and fall in love has completely transformed. All right, let's just dive right out of the gate with a pretty wild question. Would you let an AI read your text messages just to tell you who is losing a fight? In 2026, this isn't science fiction at all. It's an actual feature on a couples app called Ember. Think about it. You upload the text thread of that exact same argument you've had like 4 times, and the AI objectively analyzes it for defensive language and stonewalling. Does that sound like the ultimate relationship hack, or is it a little bit terrifying? Well, that is the exact tech tension we're unpacking today. So here's our roadmap. We'll cover the modern love paradox, the rise of couples apps, AI and relationships, apps versus therapy, and finally, the new rules for 2026. Kicking things off with Section 1, the modern love paradox. Is technology destroying modern romance? It's a heavy question, right? I mean, take a quick second to reflect on your own digital habits. How often does screen time or just a random notification pull you away from a real moment with your partner? We are living in this era of hyperconnectivity, yet researchers are tracking a growing crisis of intimacy. But, it's actually not entirely black and white. Technology can absolutely extend intimacy through private digital rituals, things like sending a quick funny meme, a supportive text during a brutal workday, or just using shared calendars. These things help us maintain closeness when we're physically apart. But of course, it has a dark side. It fuels jealousy through this built-in comparison culture. We constantly see these perfectly curated couples online, which sets completely unrealistic expectations. And honestly, that can quickly breed insecurity and trust issues in our own messy real-world partnerships. And academic research perfectly backs up this whole paradox. For instance, a recent dissertation from Liberty University focused on men's relationship satisfaction found that digital communication, like sending little words of affirmation throughout the day, actually strengthens their sense of connection. But then, flip over to the findings from the KIU Journal. They highlight how the public performance of love, that immense pressure to post the absolute perfect anniversary photo, creates a dangerous comparison culture that actively harms relationship satisfaction. Actually, zooming in on that specific KIU Journal study by Kikembo Aisha on it, the research warns that the more you use words and photos to tell the public about your love, the further apart you might actually be from truly sharing it with your partner. Basically, when love becomes a public performance, it distances you from the private reality of your relationship. Moving right along to Section 2, the rise of couples apps. So the couples app market has completely blown up, and it's matured into these very distinct categories for whatever your relationship needs at the moment. If you're looking for comprehensive growth and conflict resolution, apps like Connected or Lasting offer these really structured programs. If things are fine, but you're just kind of bored, Lovewick focuses purely on romance and fresh date night ideas. Coral tackles the often ignored category of physical intimacy and sexual wellness. And for long-distance couples who just want to escape all the noise of social media, Between gives you a completely private, ad-free digital space just for the two of you. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Are these apps just a bunch of tech gimmicks? Well, the answer is no, because the best ones are built on legitimate, hard science. A crucial piece of this is the Gottman method. A lot of these apps like Lasting are actually grounding their software in over 40 years of rigorous psychological research. They're teaching couples how to manage conflict and build what they call love maps, which is basically a clinical term for how well you truly know your partner's inner world. Their stresses, their hopes, and their dreams. And guys, the data shows this is actually working. According to Gigi Engel's 2026 State of Intimacy report, which, by the way, surveyed over 300,000 people, 40% of couples reported increased satisfaction when using these structured digital tools for connection. Think about it. These apps remove the heavy burden of having to figure out exactly how to start a really hard conversation. The software just gently initiates it for you. Okay, let's get into Section 3, AI in our relationships. Remember that crazy scenario I brought up at the very beginning of this explainer? Well, apps like Ember actually feature a text analyzer. If you have a cyclical argument with your partner, you can just upload your text history and the AI steps in as a supposedly neutral observer. It highlights exactly where one of you used defensive language or where the other started stonewalling. It literally strips away all the heated emotion and just shows you the raw, cold mechanics of your fight. Now, this has sparked a massive philosophical split in the tech world. On one side, you've got AI coaching apps like Maya and Ember. Their whole philosophy is that analysis is incredibly valuable. Understand your patterns and get expert-informed advice straight from an algorithm. On the flip side, you have human-first apps like Smush. Their take is that the human experience itself is the value. They use tech to provide game-based prompts, sort of like a digital truth or dare, to spark analog conversations. But the catch is, there's no AI evaluating your answers. The software facilitates the connection, but then it gets out of the way of your actual vulnerability. Which brings us to a really vital question we need to ponder. Are we outsourcing our intimacy? Because as researchers from BYU and the Gottman Institute have pointed out, there is a serious risk here. If we rely on an AI to mediate our conflicts, we might be skipping the necessary, uncomfortable, messy, human work of just sitting across from someone and being truly seen, flaws and all. And that perfectly tees up Section 4, apps versus actual therapy. I absolutely love this analogy. Think of relationship apps as your daily vitamins. They are amazing for building healthy habits, creating little daily rituals of connection, and just handling the normal, everyday friction of sharing your life with someone. But if a relationship is dealing with infidelity, deep-rooted trauma, severe contempt, or abuse, you don't need a vitamin. You need medical intervention. And that is exactly what professional, licensed couples therapy is for. Apps are absolutely not a replacement for a therapist when you're in a real crisis. The Gottman Institute summarizes this reality so perfectly. They say, software can help you prepare for a difficult conversation. It cannot sit across from you while you're having one. Real connection requires real-time attunement, right? Eye contact, physical presence, and just patiently listening while someone is still figuring out what they're trying to say. Software simply can't do that for you. All right, bringing it home with Section 5, the new rules for 2026. So, based on all the latest relationship data, the modern playbook has officially evolved. First up, emotional intelligence is now valued way over grand romance. Checking in on your partner's stress levels matters a lot more than buying them an expensive dinner. Second, shared equality. Treating your partnership as a true 50-50 team in every single aspect. Third, setting clear boundaries to protect your relationship from digital burnout and all that social comparison. Fourth, prioritizing mental health as a couple. And finally, realizing that strong relationships happen when you grow individually in order to grow together. But how do we actually execute those big rules on a daily basis? Let's bring it right back down to earth with 3 incredibly simple, totally low-tech steps. Number 1, put the phone away. Literally, just dedicate some screen-free time every single day. Number 2, take a post-dinner walk. Getting outside and moving physically alongside your partner sparks this very natural, unforced conversation. And number 3, sincerely say thank you. Notice the little things they do and vocalize your appreciation. Look, it's not rocket science, but it is the actual glue that holds intimacy together. And that brings us to our final thought for today. The tools we have in 2026 are honestly mind-blowing, but at the end of the day, they are just tools. The absolute core of love hasn't changed at all. So I'm going to leave you with this challenge. Will you put your phone down and really choose your partner today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.